Hello and welcome to G4 Talks Health Shorts. In this episode, I'll talk about the BNA Act, or the British North America Act, which is essentially the first constitution of Canada. It's important to remember that our treaties were signed with the Crown and Crown representatives, and not with the Canadian federal government. The Canadian federal government has what's called a fiduciary responsibility, and they hold our resources and money in trust. Hello, and welcome to the G4 Talks Health Shorts. Right now I'm going to talk about the BNA Act, or the British North American Act, that was passed in March 23rd of 1867. Why it's really important was it was the first constitution to bring together the then provinces of Canada, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick under the country that we now call Canada. Why this is still important today is because the BNA Act states that the Canadian federal government will now be responsible for Indians and lands reserved to Indians. So in the British perspective, treaties that were signed with the Crown are then passed on to the federal government without consent from First Nations. The numbered treaties also didn't begin yet. Treaty 1 was signed in 1871. It wouldn't be until 1877 when Treaty 7 was signed. Because of this, the BNA Act basically says that responsibility is passed on from the Crown to the federal government without us consenting or knowing that the BNA Act existed. So there's some legal confusion there, but we hold true that our treaties are signed with the Crown and not with the Canadian federal government. So we never consented to the Canadian federal government ever being responsible for us or being responsible to pass laws on us. It would be after the BNA Act was made in 1876 where the Indian Act was passed, which was the federal Canadian government exercising their responsibility for Indians and lands reserved for the Indians. The BNA Act is important because it sets the tone of assimilation policies from the Canadian federal government. Thanks for listening to today's episode on G4 Talks Health Shorts. Stay tuned for more episodes as I go through some of the important events in history that affect First Nations health today. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at G4_health or G4 Health. You could visit our website, www.g4health.org. Nani Estane.